Hello, it's me, Goose. What a week, y'all! What a wow! What a week! It was a shape. The week was a shape. We had both Sony State of Play and we had Dorito Pope's Summer Games Fest, and you can't tell online, but everyone loved them. Everyone enjoyed their time. Everyone had their favorite games announced. It was been fantastic. No, that didn't happen. That did not happen. People are going to set fire to Square Enix anytime now. The Kingdom Heartsers, they need something. They need something to be shown. Something. Square, you're fucking around. You're fucking around, Square. But man, wow, wowie. Let's start with State of Play. Okay, like State of Play has two modes. Okay, it's either going to be God's chosen event or ass. Just straight cheeks. That's the only matter. That's it. And generally speaking, most State of Play lean towards cheeks. You know, if you want to have a PlayStation showcase, which I guess is their creme de la creme, their beautiful bouncing baby boys, where they talk about God of War and Aloy's red hair braids, I don't fucking know. You might get a better chance of getting your games out there, but for the regular events, State of Play is usually it. And this State of Play was a little bit different. Just to rewind it back, Sony has been in a shit pile since 2024. They've just been rolling in the deep, and not in the hot, sexy way like Adele, but in the sad dumpster raccoon way, because they messed up, which is typical for Sony. Both Crying Ryan and Herman Hulse put every single dollar they had into live service, and then made the first party studios that Sony owns kind of do the same thing. I mean, they had Bluepoint working on some new game that they canceled, and I think they had Ben Studio doing something. Poor Insomniac is in the fucking Marvel mines. We'll never see another Ratchet and Clank game until the sun burns out. And they were kind of putting poor Naughty Dog, their prize stallion, in, trying to make the mercenaries or whatever heck mode for Last of Us 2 into a thing. And this is also during a time, I think, a little bit, maybe a year before this, they bought Bungie. They acquired Bungie for $3 billion, and which was grossly overvalued. Like I like Bungie. I like what they made, but they are not $3 billion. They looked at Sony's desperation and they said money, and they got valued for $3 billion. But Sony doesn't own Bungie. Bungie is just kind of like a pulsating parasite on the side of Sony's ass. That's just not doing anything but pulsating madly like an angry boil. And it all came to a head in 2024 with the most expensive game failure ever made in Concord, which caused poor 200 plus people at Firewalk to lose their jobs because they were on Herman Hulse's Star Wars game. He called it their next Star Wars game. And follow up with Bungie's just marathon. That's all I'm going to use for you. If you know what it is, I don't need to go in depth with this. Needless to say, the Sony-only ponies were suffering. We were down bad. We were suffering. We're like, can you please just give us something? Can you give us a light in the dark? For the love of God, please. What the fuck? And so this State of Play was kind of what they hoped was going to be it. And spoiler, it was not. It was not. Now, to be completely fair with you, I didn't think the State of Play was bad. I thought it was comfortably mid, because a lot of the games they announced were mostly Japanese games, which is not saying that they were mid because they're Japanese games, but they weren't the games that I was looking for. Like, I was on copium hoping that they would announce Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne Card, Bloodborne more Bloodborne-ier. Just something to acknowledge that Bloodborne was a shape that belonged to Sony. And Sony said no. You won't be getting that. And so I was sad. But there were releases that were of interest. I'm going to put the ones that I thought that were interesting right in front of you with a cool snapshot of them. I like the thing. Their biggest hit, the one that woke everybody up, was their game that they, because I was watching Max Dude's stream, and Max Dude was wondering why the fuck they make Sony make a fighting stick. And then here's the reason why they made a fighting stick, because XDev, Arc Systems, and Sony collaborate together to make Token Marvel Fighting Spirits. And again with Max, I agree. Change that fucking title. Change that. The title is not a good mouthfeel. It's terrible. It's right up there with 2XKO. When you have a hit in your hands, don't change the hit. The hit's fine. Project L works just fine. Tokon Marvel Fighting Spirits does not work. Just call it Fighting Spirits or Marvel Fighting Spirits or Marvel Token or something. I don't know. I don't get paid for this. Figure it out. Figure it out before it comes out. It's obviously not coming out anytime soon. Anyway, that game took all the attention from everything. I mean, these games that were released, that were talking about in State of Play was the remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. There was announcement of the new Grasshopper Manufacture game, and Romeo is a Dead Man, which looks amazing. I'm like, oh, I have interest in this. And Silent Hill Elf, which looks absolutely amazing. And people were just talking about how gorgeous Storm was, which is valid because she's fucking gorgeous. So that kind of carried PlayStation on its back, as Capcom tends to do. Capcom had a long history of carrying PlayStation on their back. They're a reliable whore. Affectionate, reliable whore, affectionate Capcom. So after that happened, people looked to the West and they turned to Keighly and they said, please, Daddy, please tell me you have more. Please, it has to be better than what the State of Play was. And Keighly was like, yes, spoiler alert, it was worse. It was worse. It was a lot of bad things. I believe that the best way to describe the SGF was, if you like gotchas, do you like grim, Dark Souls-esque medieval fantasy games? And do you like battle royales? Then this is this event for you, because that was like 90% of the games they showed. They did have some quirky indie games like Baby Steps and the Muppet fighting game and the new game from the people that make Journey, and of course the wonderful people at the Royal Goat 2 studio making Stranger Than Heaven, which I needed in my body. I needed physically, biblically, I needed, and of course the cop teasing by Capcom. With Resident Evil 9 Requiem, but for the most part, it was 2 hours of suffering. And again, I was in Max's stream, and God bless. See, this is the difference between people who are streamers and people who are entertainers, because Max was trying his damn best to keep the chat engaged and to keep his interest engaged in the streaming. And God bless him. God bless that extremely tall, giant man. He did the best he could, but we were not feeling it. we were not feeling it. And so this was a very long intro diatribe to say, we need E3 back. We need it back badly. We need someone needs to come in there and just, resurrect that event. They need to either make it a public event or an online event. It needs to come back. And I say this not as a diss to Keighly, even though Keighly was very smug about the end of E3. It's more aligned, like the vibes ain't vibing, right? Like E3, and this is not me gonna gas up E3, because E3 had its own Jesus, Mary and Joseph categories of problems, that with organization, with event venue, with sponsorship. You can probably find an E3 documentary online that can tell you all the issues that happened with E3. But I am strictly talking about E3 from a viewer's perspective. I never have been to E3. I couldn't afford to go to E3 if I fucking tried. But what E3 had was brotherhood. Do you understand? Like, you could go and anticipate E3 and have Sega and Sony and Microsoft and EA and Square Enix and, I guess id and, the Core. You could get all these companies come in with their giant display and their sexy ladies that have no idea what's going on, but they'll take pictures of these sweaty nerds, and they would talk about their games, the best of their abilities. You have hands-on demos. You had your favorite internet influencer come up there and talk about, the coolness of Halo and the chainsaw gun thing that was in Gears. And it was an event. You felt included, even if you weren't there. You were still kind of felt you were in the same presence of. There was an energy that A3 had that the Summer Game Fest just does not have. And I don't know, it's because Summer Games Fest is an online only event, maybe, or maybe the arena is being held at is very, closed off. But there's a feeling that there is a disconnect. And that kind of bleeds through with the games that are on display for the event. And that's kind of unfair. I think that's a very unfair feeling because I don't think it's the game's fault. I don't blame the games. I don't blame the people who bring out the games because, again, not every independent studio or smaller dev has the Square money or the Capcom money. They literally just bid their chance at Geoff, Dorito Pub guy, and say, here is my game trailer show. And he makes a thing from it. And if they're lucky, people will be interested in this game that they didn't know exists before. Or if they're not lucky, they won't pay any attention to it. And so when people are online and they're talking about, oh my God, Summer Game Fest is so donkey shit, or even at State of Play, oh my God, State of Play is so donkey shit, how do those studios feel? They feel like they don't matter. And independent studios and smaller studios are literally fucking carrying the industry, okay? I need people to understand me when I say this. It is not the big games that are holding the industry together with toothpicks and dreams. It is the smaller made games, the smaller house studios that are the ones that are constantly putting out new games for you to play, both on like Steam or on the store or whatever. Those are the games that keep you invested. Those are the hidden gems that you start talking about years later. Because as it stands, the production pipeline for these AAA games right now is cheeks. Okay? To go back to what I was talking about with fucking Sony, we lost 5-6 years of dev time for the first party studios at Sony. They were stuck making bullshit live service games or making frameworks for these live service games for like 5 or 6 years. I know Bluepoint had a game they were working on that was fucking canceled. We have no idea what that game was going to be. And Bluepoint, by the way, has been God's strongest soldier for Sony because they've been remastering fucking games. This is their chance for them to make a new game of their own. Same thing with Ben Studio. They only had one game under their belt, and they've been stuck in this purgatory of fucking, Jesus Christ, what's that game's called? I forget it's called. I like it. I don't remember what it is. I put the name at the bottom here, but I like the game. It wasn't great, but I like the game. And they want to make a sequel to that game or some other game, and they can't fucking do it because Sony is like, we like live service now. Or Herman Hulse is just waxing philosophical and laying flowers at Alloy's feet for the 9,000th time, trying to make her become a fucking it girl. Listen, Herman, she's not going to be an it girl. Look at me. Look at me in the face. She is not going to be an it girl. Let her rest. Make a new game. I don't even hate Alloy, but I hate that they keep shoving her in my face. Okay? Chill. Okay, I'm sorry. I went on a tangent there. I even snorted. That's even worse. Okay, breathe. Oh, woosah. There's a Wu-Tang game coming out that was announced at the Summer Games Fest. And I'm going to get all up in that game when it drops because Wu is forever. To go back to my last point about E3 and about indie games and everything else, we need to have another event that is not Geoff flavored. That sounds gross, but it's not a Geoff flavored event. We need to have somebody that can do a similar type of event for E3. Now, I know realistically that's kind of not going to happen. The country recession is in the toilet. People can't afford shit. So having an event like E3 now would be fiscally completely irresponsible. I know. But in the future, in the future, I don't know, whenever we manage to survive in the future, there should be some consideration of some brave entrepreneur out there, some brave, maybe suspiciously wealthy furry, I don't know, that can finance the event for E3 or an E3 adjacent or some type of gaming fest that they can bring together because this isn't working. At least to me, it isn't working. And I don't want to shit on Geoff Keighley. He loves gaming. He absolutely loves gaming. But it's clear that it's a connecting, I know connections kind of thing. And you can feel it. You can feel this is people that I know and I'm bringing on stage. And honestly, if I had the kind of connections and the money that I came from with Geoff, I'd be doing the same fucking thing. I mean, he brought out Mads Mikkelsen, and I just look at him and I just know he smells so good. Daddy. Anyway, that's my video. That's my video. My rambly, ranty goose rant thing about how much I miss E3, and we need something. We need something. I don't know what, but if you had some experience of being at both the Summer Game Fest or at E3, please comment below with your thoughts and opinions. If you have ideas on what can possibly be a new video game event, comment below, like and subscribe the video because I need to do that now, apparently. But again, here's hoping that the next Microsoft event might have something. TGS, maybe? My name is Goose. I'm going to drink water and calm the hell down. You guys stay safe, be cool. I'll see you next time. Bye.